Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and I am in my childhood hometown of Seguin, Texas. I get back here usually a couple times a year, and I thought this would be a good place to do my owner's review of my Motorscooter, which I have had for exactly 1 year now. And I'm here in Walnut Springs Park, which is a nice little, nicely landscaped park that they have near downtown Seguin. So let's talk about my Motorscooter. It all started here in Seguin, where I got my first motorcycle when I was in the 10th grade, I think it was, a Honda 65. Then I got a Honda 125 later, then a Suzuki 250, and then a Honda 350 Scrambler, which is my favorite bike. But that one ended up getting stolen, and then there was a 30-year gap before I got my next motorcycle, which is a Kawasaki 250 Ninja. I had that one for a few years, and then I thought I would try scooters, so I got me a Suzuki 200cc Bergman scooter. Had that for a few years, and then traded it in for this one, which is a Yamaha XMAX 300. So moving up from a 200 to a 300 was really nice to get a 50% larger engine, and it has proved to be much peppier. With that 200cc, I maxed out at my red line at 65 miles an hour, so I rarely got it over 65. With this one, I've never hit the red line, and I've had it up to 88 miles an hour. I did that just once to see how fast it would go. For someone who weighs like 100 pounds less than I do, I'm sure you could get it up to 90. It's a very smooth riding bike. Of course, that depends on how smooth the road is. So let me show you some of the features. And of course, the main benefit to a scooter rather than a motorcycle is the underseat storage. Motorcycles have no underseat storage at all. This one, and pretty much all scooters, have a lot of underseat storage like this, which is really handy when I go grocery shopping. I can really fill this up with a lot of groceries. And the seat has a recess there and another recess here, so I can store my helmet here. You can actually store 2 helmets there with the seat closed, which is super handy, because with a motorcycle you have to find some way of locking your helmet down, hanging it from somewhere here, and it's still just sitting there. Somebody with a pair of scissors can very quickly make off with it. You can easily ride 2 people on it. It's got a set of footrests here for the person sitting in the rear up here. Now this seat looks super comfortable, which it is for about the first 20 minutes. And this is very typical to scooters. And kind of the problem is with the motorcycles I've had before, the seat is just flat all the way back. And I found that to be more comfortable. When you're sitting here, your back of your butt is going to be against that. And after your backside hitting that for about 20-30 minutes or so, it's going to start to go numb. Now the seat does sit a little high. So what some people have done, there is an alternative seat you can buy, which is a lot lower. It doesn't have this, but then you lose the ability to put your helmets underneath the seat with the seat closed and locked. So I definitely would not want to do that. Now one thing this scooter has that I don't know if any other scooters do, maybe some of the larger ones do, but this one has what they call a smart key ignition switch. And to turn the ignition switch on, there is no key key. You just have this device right here. So you just carry this in your pocket as a keychain, and as long as this is within about 3 feet of the switch, then when you push the button, you'll hear a click, and then you turn it to the right once to open the seat, and then once more to turn on the ignition. When you press this, the seat pops open, and when you press this one, that compartment pops open, and there is a 12-volt cigarette lighter type plug in there that you can use an adapter to charge your cell phone or something like that. So I do like not having to put a key in here. There actually is no place to put a key. I just carry this around in my pocket, and that's all there is to it. Now, one really nice thing about this switch is that once I activate it and like I open the seat, then if I leave the seat open and then walk away from it, you hear it start beeping. That beeping lets you know you've left your seat open and, more importantly, you've left your switch on, because now someone can just turn it once more and then it starts up and take off. So if I stop somewhere and do not turn the switch into the off position, then as I walk away, it's going to let me know. Beep, beep, beep. So when I turn it on, the dashboard lights up. Has a standard dashboard of a speedometer and an odometer, but the real fun is the center display. This shows how full the gas tank is. There's 6 positions there. It's full now. And when you get down to where the last one is on here, when you get really low on fuel, this starts flashing, and once that's flashing, it turns on a trip meter to show how far you've gone since it hit that low point. And from there, I've gone as much as 15, 16 miles without running out of fuel. Now this right side, this curve here, is how hot the engine is. Once it gets warmed up, this stays right around the middle. In normal operation, it never really goes above the middle. It just settles right there, and then that's it until the engine cools down. The middle, this is a 24-hour clock, and then there's several different things you can use this top part for. This is the traction control system that shows you it's on, and there is a way to turn it off if you need to. And other positions that it has is the average fuel consumption, 78 miles a gallon. And this shows the consumption as you're driving now. So as you're driving down the road, it'll show I'm getting 50, 60, 70 miles a gallon. And then when I'm coasting with the throttle not on at all, it goes up to 299 miles a gallon. Which I guess the engine is using just to idle. So as you change your speed, you can see the miles per gallon consumption changing here. And then this is the average miles per gallon since the last time you reset it. And then this shows the temperature. So these are the various positions. That shows the voltage of the battery. Then the bottom one here is the odometer, and it has 2 trip meters. So I've reset that trip meter. This shows how many minutes you've driven since the trip meter was set, something I've never used. There's the trip meter, and then this shows how long you've gone since the V-belt was replaced. And I don't even know what the V-belt is offhand. And there is the odometer. 3868 is how many miles I've driven it in a year. Now my one big complaint about this is that I don't really need these features on top. The one I really want is to tell me how many miles an hour I'm driving with the big letters. So sometimes it's hard to tell. In fact, with my distance glasses on, it's hard to see this speedometer here. That's hard to read sometimes. I wish there was an option here where it would show you the miles an hour you're going. But I don't know why they didn't make that one of the options instead of one of the other options that to me is kind of useless. And like all scooters, there are no foot controls. Your foot just rests there or there. All the controls are on the handlebars. And this is the front brake, and this is the right brake. These are the brake fluid reservoirs. And one design flaw that I don't know why they left it this way, but this is the cable that goes down, or the tube that goes down to have the brake fluid lubricate, and they just didn't create enough room here. So this looks like it's broken and popped open, but that's the way it is. That's just the way they designed it. They just didn't leave enough room to actually close that down. So all in all, I really love this scooter. However, there has been some problems that I want to tell you about, and these problems may be just my scooter and not the XMAX 300 in general. So I'm not saying they're all going to be this way, but I'm going to tell you what happened to me. This is the turn signal where you push this to the left or to the right to turn on the turn signal, which works fine, but when you try and turn it off, you're supposed to push it in. Well, that just won't turn it off anymore. I just kind of have to jiggle it left and right to get it to turn off. So that does not work normally. And then over here, the starter button. So the starter, you have to have the kickstand all the way up and the brake pulled in, and then you push down on the starter button. The problem is the starter button sticks down. So when I turn it off and then back on, all I have to do is pull the brake lever and it starts because the starter button is stuck down. So I have to remember each time I start it to manually flip it back up, because if I don't, if that is down, then whenever I pull in the brake lever, it tries to start the engine. Another problem I've had is with this door here. It doesn't lock like this one does, but you're supposed to be able to just push it and then have it pop open. Like a lot of doors do, like in cabinets and such, you just push it, it releases it and pops open. This is hard to get it open. I have to force it to open. And then sometimes when I'm driving down the road with it closed like this, it will just pop open. It just, at a random time, it'll just pop open. So that has been a problem. Another problem I've had is that to open the seat, you're supposed to put this on the open position and then hit the seat button. And that's fine, that works. The problem is that at some point this system quit working to where all I have to do is press this button and the seat comes up. Well, I have to do it at the same time. So I press the button and open the seat and it would just pop open without it being in the open position. So anybody that's nosy can just hit that seat button, pull the seat up, and see what's inside. Another problem I've had, and this happens about 1 out of maybe 10, 15 days. The first time I start it in a day, I'll have to try starting it about 5 or 10 times before the engine will actually start. It's not that it's cold, it happens when it's warm, and it just random happens. Like I said, not more than once every 10 days or so, I'll have trouble getting it started. And these problems all happen within the first 8 or 9 months of owning the scooter, which I bought brand new from a dealer. The big problem is that after I had it for about 6 months, the smart key ignition switch broke. It just got stuck to where it wouldn't go up or down. It would not recognize the smart key. It was just jammed up. It wouldn't do anything. So I had to go to a dealer to have a brand new switch replaced. And from what I've heard through Facebook, and there is a Facebook owners group for this particular model scooter, other people have had trouble with that smart key switch as well. The smart key switch is really nice. I really like it when it works. But if it breaks, you cannot drive the scooter at all. When that happened to me, I could not drive it at all. Fortunately, it happened when I was trying to take off one morning from my motorhome. If I was 50 miles away and at that point it broke, I would have to have this thing hauled back to my motorhome 50 miles away. So that day when that happened could have been made much worse. Now all the motorcycles and scooters I've had, I bought brand new. I've never had to take any one of them in for any warranty service at all. Never anything went wrong within the first year warranty. So that really surprised me that here I've had to take it into warranty service twice. Once to get that switch fixed, and the other time for these other problems that I mentioned, which I have not been able to get fixed. And now, owning it for a year, my warranty is up and I'm stuck with these other problems unless I can find a dealer who's got time and knowledge to fix these problems. By the way, this fancy building across the street, that is the new and improved Seguin Library for people who still read books on paper. Well, overall, like I said, I'm very happy with the scooter, and all these problems I mentioned, other than the switch of course, are livable. They're livable problems that I can still enjoy the scooter every day until, even if I don't get them fixed, I can still live with the problems. And generally, I got to tell you, riding this scooter is really a pleasure. It truly is a pleasure to ride. I am really, overall, very happy with it. Now, there's one more problem that I want to show you when I get back to my motorhome. So hold on just a second. I always carry my scooter on my trailer hitch rack here. And I use a ratchet strap where I put one strap around here, one strap around there that goes down to the hitch, to these loops like this. And on the back, I mount a strap onto here and I mount a strap onto there. Now, the problem I've had is, you see how this has separated like that? I took it into a dealer and they couldn't really fix it to put this back together. And I'm almost positive what's caused this to come apart is not any kind of failure in the bike, but the fact that those ratchet straps on the back is just pulling this apart. Fortunately, it hasn't happened to the left side. And if I had known that this was going to happen, I would have found a way to have the strap on here come down this side and the strap on here come down that side. That way the two straps are pulling the rear together rather than what it's doing now, pulling it apart. So there's a tip if you use a motorcycle rack like this. Well folks, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I definitely recommend this scooter. Even though there were some small problems, I don't know if I could find a scooter that I like any better than this one. So I definitely recommend the Yamaha XMAX 300. Good day folks.